I've had very good talks with Putin, and I've had not such good talks with Ukraine. They don't have any cards, but they play it tough. But I'm delighted to welcome America's governors to the White House. You're amazing people. Even the Democrats are amazing people, some of you. And I'm of the opinion, I understand FEMA very well. We had a good situation with FEMA, but it was a very expensive thing to do. And I really believe when there's a natural disaster, a hurricane, a tornado, or whatever it may be, you're very capable people. It's called you fix it. You take care of it yourselves. You don't have to call some faraway state and have people planed in from areas that they have no idea. So I think 75, 25 with the government, the federal government paying 75. And we'll go right through to probably either go through Commerce, maybe go through Marco, because Marco's very good with money. We have to get going because when we bring the energy costs down, we have more energy than anybody in the world. We just didn't use it. Can you imagine? Biden set us up in Venezuela instead of taking ours, so that we go to Venezuela where they have very heavy stuff, and we have the best stuff in the world. We have more liquid gold, and it's really great liquid gold too. We have more under our feet than anybody else. But we went to Venezuela to buy oil instead of taking it from our own land and, drilling a little hole in the ground. About how big is that hole? About a foot. We want to win another race because I think it's really important to win twice. And I won 3 times, if you think about it. And she's going to be a fantastic secretary, and you'll do something with the eggs, because I'm hearing so much about eggs. You'll figure it out. You got to figure something out fast. But and we inherited all of the problems. At some point, a few months down the road, we won't be able to say it's so much us. But the big things, really, we can blame other people for. We have one stat that I quote, the autism stat. And you hear different numbers, but it's thousands. They say between 10 and 20,000. So if you go back 15 years ago, we had like nobody. It was 1 in 20,000. Now we have 1 in 34. Is that right? 34. So 34 or 36 kids have autism. And if you go back, I guess 18 years, that whenever that was done, it was 1 in 20,000. So we got from 20,000 to 34, 36. That's unbelievable. So there's something wrong. There's something wrong. We've done something wrong. There's something you're going to figure it out. Those 2 guys are going to figure it out. And they're also going to figure out why in the United States we pay $1,300 for a drug, one that we were talking about, and in London they pay, literally they pay $200, even less. $88 I heard in one case yesterday. They pay $88, we pay $1,300 for the exact same drug from the exact same factory, from the same plant where it's made. We've got to figure that out. So I hope you focus really a lot on the cost too, because Americans are being screwed, and it's no good. But we're actually going to Fort Knox because I want to see, do we have the gold? Do we still have whatever it is, tons of gold? I hope we do. Wouldn't that be disappointing? Fort Knox. You grow up hearing about Fort Knox. You can't get in. You can't even see it. Nobody sees it. You go there and the place is dry. Would that be terrible? There's another one. Maybe you should go with us to that one. But we're going to go in there pretty soon. They're going to open the doors to Fort Knox. If any governor would like to go with us, well, good. Do you want to go with us on that one, Ron? That could be good. Could be interesting. Can you imagine if we open it up and there's no gold? Well, I think there will be. For one reason, it's really heavy. You steal or borrow gold, you got to be strong. So it's not like other things. Before COVID, and we did a great job with COVID and it was a hell of a thing for all of us, everybody here. But some countries will actually never recover for what they went through. I mean, for safety and security and for the good of our nation, you should do it anyway, regardless, even if it costs 10 times more. But it actually costs you just a tiny fraction. If you went to paper ballots and you're voting, and I would hope that every Republican would, so it costs exactly 8% of what the machines cost. These machines, they got something going. They get business. It's amazing. So paper ballots, and paper is very sophisticated today. Paper, it's called watermark. It's impossible to copy, impossible to cheat. It's actually hard to believe that a piece of paper is highly sophisticated, but it's watermark, and it's it's amazing actually when you see it. You can't cheat. But if you went to paper ballots and same-day voting, and if you went to voter ID, and also one other thing, you want a proof of citizenship, those four things: proof of citizenship, voter ID, paper ballots, one-day voting. And if you went to two-day voting or three-day voting, but some of these states, you had 64 days. You know, California just finished up just a short while ago. They were voting a week and a half ago. They're trying to finish them up. I did ask Elon, because he knows more about computers than anybody I know. I said, what do you think of the voting system? He said, computers are not meant for voting. It's just not it's too many transactions taking place too quickly. It's just not, he said, honestly, and I've gone to the best people, the smartest computer minds from MIT, from others. My uncle was a professor for 41 years at MIT, and a brilliant guy, and I got to know a lot of the people up there. And they will tell you that the most secure way that you can secure the election, and probably the fastest way, because there can be very little hanky-panky, is paper ballots. Can you believe it? So I hope, Sarah, that certainly the Republican governors, but if you want to save a lot of money, you go to paper ballots. It'll cost you 8% of what the costs are now. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you're going to have fraud. We're one of the only people that has now mail-in voting, one of the only countries that has mail-in voting. The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine, is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
Well, we are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it, because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply, because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding. Every state, good, I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor, because I don't think you'll be in elected politics. We want to do something that I think many people in this room want, and even if you don't, I think you do want it, but you might not be able to say it. We want to move the schools back to the states, so that Iowa and South Carolina and Georgia and all these states can run your own school system. If you notice that every country that has the death penalty has no drug problem, they execute drug dealers. And when you think about it, it's very humane, because every drug dealer, on average, they say, kills at least 500 people, not to mention the damage they do to so many others, but they kill large numbers of people. I don't know if our country is ready for it. I am ready for it. The death penalty, if you deal drugs, you know, you have to set out guidelines like fairly large numbers, et cetera, but you'll have it go down. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to do an advertising campaign. They're working on it right now, and that's saying how bad drugs are. I never learn anything on phone calls.